Hello humans, welcome back to my makeup room. And by makeup room, today I mean kitchen. Once again, we're here for the flat lay and the countertop. My name's Martha, if you've never been here before, and I post makeup related videos every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. I hope you'll consider subscribing. Now, let's talk about eyeshadows. This is going to be my eyeshadow palette collection. We're plowing through all of my collections, and today we're going to tackle the eyeshadow palettes. So let's get into it. We're just going to go brand by brand. I'm starting with the ones I have the most of, and then we'll get into the ones where I only have single palettes. So this is my Kaleidos little collection. Now this is the Deep Sea Luster palette. It is discontinued. It is their first palette they came out with. Thank you to Angelica Nyqvist for swaying me to purchase this. It has some lovely little duochromes in there and a little bit of neutral as well. Now they do the Futurism series. So we've got Futurism 1, Sci-Fi Green, Futurism 3, Astro Pink, 4, VR Neon, and 5, Electro Turquoise. I did have the Futurism 2, I don't remember what it was called, but it was like a ready, warm, neutral kind of a situation, and that's not my vibe, so I sold that one. But here we have the VR, or the Sci-Fi Green, which is a nice grungy green. This is the reason I have not bought the Milk Gemini, because these grungy greens are fantabulous, and that black is awesome too. The Astro Pink looks like that. I do wish that we would have had something a little bit more diverse with these little transition shades. They look almost identical, but what are you gonna do? And a sparkly black. Really? Like, who needs a sparkly black? This is probably the least favorite of the ones I have, but it does have these fantabulous shimmers, so it still can stay. VR Neon. I've raved about this a lot on my channel. It's so bright and so fun. And I mean, Kaleidos does packaging right. Can we just take a moment? So that's that one there. And there we have the Electro Turquoise, my other favorite. That's Kaleidos, done. Oh, by the way, if any of these palettes interest you and you'd like to see a look or a review, just leave me a comment down below and I will be sure to do that. So now we have the Nomad collection. I have these two most recent releases. These are their quads. This is the Encinitas Surf Shack, and it has two neutrals, Papa Blue, and a light pink. And then this is the Malibu Surf Shack, and this is a little bit more of a greeny color story. And then we have my bigger palettes. This is the Antille palette. Looks like this. Fun, colorful, nice, and bright. The one thing I don't like about this palette is they are mostly satins, which is not my personal preference, but they still blend out nicely, and I'm okay with it. Then we have the Tokyo Harajuku palette, which is adorable. It's these pastel shades with these fun duochromes down at the bottom. It's just a fun palette. Now, I do have 3 Anastasia palettes. We've got the OG Norvina, the Riviera, and the Sultry. Start with Norvina here. You will all have seen this color story before. Not much of a surprise. Same, well, all of these, everyone knows what they look like. This is Sultry and Riviera. Now these two are pretty new to my collection, the Sultry and the Riviera, so I don't have too many opinions on them. I haven't gotten too much of a chance to play around with him quite yet. Alright, now we're into the palettes, the brands that I have 2 palettes from. This is September Rose Cosmetics. I have the original Slush palette. This cute rainbow color story. What I love about these palettes is they have a gradient from lightest to darkest. This one has a mix of mattes and shimmers. And the Slush 2 is the same idea, but all matte shades. And again, this one I haven't gotten too much of a chance to play with. I've only used a couple of shades in here. I also have 2 palettes from Juvia's Place. We have the, I believe the first palette they came out with. This is the Zulu palette. And the Tribe palette. Menagerie Cosmetics. We have the Violet Ink palette, which is this lovely little 6-pan purple palette. What I love about these are more blue tone purples, which you don't see all that often. A lot of purples are more on the reddish pinky side of things, so that's why I especially love this palette. And it's so cute. Look how it's so adorable. It fits in the palm of your hand. And then this is the Pastel Pup palette by Menagerie. Now mine is a little bit modified. I took out the white and the black and added 2 of the trifoil shades, I believe they call them, because I can always dip in to reach for a white and a black, but I'm mostly going to use the pastel palette sort of as a pastel, and I wanted to have these shimmer shades in there as well. So I just made it my own, and I still have the white and the black, and I can use them whenever I wish. Alright, that's all the palettes where I have multiples from a brand. Now I'm going to go sort of indie first, and then we'll get into my more mainstream palettes. These aren't hard and fast rules because I can never remember which brands are indie and which aren't. For example, Dose of Colors, I wouldn't have thought this was indie, but I believe it's independently owned. This is the Marvelous Mauves palette. I have some nice little pan up in here. Good basic staple palette. This is the Nabla Cutie Coral palette. And what I like about this is the shimmers. It's a very good formula. Cute little neutral but not too neutral kind of a palette. Next we have Lethal Cosmetics. This is the collaboration with Jolena palette. And I have only used this once, I believe. So if you'd like to see a look with this, let me know. I definitely want to play with this green right there. Melt Cosmetics. This is the Vita palette. Fun little color story. I do love that we have some cool tone browns, which you don't see super often. Greens are super fun shades, and I mean, there's oranges and reds. That's fine. This palette is from Suva Beauty. This is the Rose Period palette. Cute little basic pinky mauve-y kind of a color story. I have only used this one once, but I need to try it again because when I used it, I found it really hard to build up the shades. I couldn't deepen up my corners because I had already laid down some other mattes. So these shades don't like to stick to each other as far as I can tell, but I haven't yet experimented with solving that problem. So if you're a person who likes to build up a lot of shadows, I would be wary of this one. If you like just a single wash of color and a shimmer or something, it's probably fine. Now we have the Colordrain Queen of Hearts palette, what many have deemed to be a classic. And it's a nice little palette. It's not totally up my alley. Maybe if we colored up the orange, I would be more inclined about it, but it is a lovely palette, good quality. Now, Sugarpill, I don't know if Sugarpill is indie or not. I feel like they are, but I'm not sure. Anyways, this is the Fun Size palette. Another cute little pastel kind of palette, but not as pastel as the Pastel Pup. Now, my palette has, the cardboard's gone all funky. I think something must have leaked in here, but it didn't damage the shadows, so we're all good. But love this one. This is from BH Cosmetics and Alicia Marie, who is a German YouTuber. This is the 1991 palette. And it's very grungy, but also has some nice cool tones, which I enjoy. And then the warmer shades are these mustardy kind of a shades, which I much prefer over just like a warm brown. And then all of these are little duochromes. So I haven't played with this palette as much as I should have, but I do like it. Now let's get into some little babies here. This is the Urban Decay Naked Basics 2. This is the more cool toned of the Naked Basics. And this is just a good classic cool tone staple for me. I had this one originally. I had hit pan. It was getting really old, so I got rid of it. And I missed it a lot, so I had to repurchase it. And now that I have a lot more eyeshadows, I don't get as much use out of it now, but it's still a palette I know I can go to and trust. Next we have my little Kasha bento box. This is the Rose Water Trio. And it just has 3 shimmer shades. We got a light one, more of a pinky one, and then this one is more of a deep magenta kind of a color. Almost a purple. Like a grape magenta. Anyways. Very satisfying little package there, and the shimmers are beautiful. This is the Bare Minerals Gen Nude Rose eyeshadow palette. Now this one's a little funny because it opens this way. Now, the quality of these shades of these shadows are really nice. The one thing I'm missing is a more mid-tone transition. These 2 shades do not need to both be in this palette. We don't need 2 bone colored shadows to set the lid. I believe, I don't know, does one of them have more of a sheen? No, they're like the same. And then this shade looks like more of a transition, but it comes off quite dark, at least on me. So we don't really have anything to like blend out that shade, so I wish they'd replace one of these 2 with a lighter transition, because it doesn't make sense. The quality of this is nice, but I don't find that I can make one cohesive look with this like I had originally wanted this to be. I wanted this to be like my go-to everyday palette for work. I could just toss on, but the way that this shade is so dark, I find that I can't really do that. It gets too intense too quickly. Next up we have the I Heart Revolution Avocado palette. And this is just a fun green blue eyeshadow palette. This was my answer to not getting the Ace Beauté Oceanic palette, the Menagerie Whale Song palette, and all of the other blue-green palettes that arrived, because all of those had really deep shimmers, like dark blue shimmers, and that's just not my vibe. I don't enjoy using really dark shimmers. I like having a lighter shimmer. So while there are some like darker shimmers, these are more neutral, and that's kind of fine. And with a $14 palette, I'm much more inclined. I'm okay buying a $14 palette where I don't use like 2 or 3 of the shades, whereas if I buy a, I don't know, a $30 or $40 palette where I don't use half the palette. So I would really like to support Menagerie, and I have singles. I bought some singles of the Whale Song palette from Menagerie, so I have the shades that I wanted from that palette without having to buy the whole palette. But while I would have wanted to support them, I had to think a little bit more smart about my money. And I'm very happy with this purchase. It's really fun, really cute. I mean, there's an avocado on it. How much more millennial can you get? And finally, you knew it was coming, the Natasha Denona Gold palette. The one thing I don't really like, this is a really expensive palette, and this is just like foam on the inside. Like in here, I mean, I guess it protects the shadows, but I mean, it feels kind of cheapy, you know? Anyways, this is the gold palette. It's beautiful, it's stunning. This shade was broken, it's fine, whatever. If you've seen any of my videos, you've heard the story. I bought this on Poshmark. I got a really good deal. I do not recommend buying these full price. It's just a bit insane to me. But this is a really great quality palette. I mean, just look at the beauty of these. I shouldn't be swatching any of these. I don't have any makeup wipes. But it's stunning. I love the color story. I'm glad I have it. Like, look at this. It's so pretty. All right. That concludes the eyeshadow palette collection. I feel like I didn't do that for very long, which is impressive because I have like 35 or something eyeshadow palettes. I guess I didn't swatch anything. That really saved some time. So definitely let me know if you want to see me do a look or more in-depth reviews or swatches or anything of any of these palettes. I would love to do that for you. Please hit subscribe if you enjoyed your time here. Hit the like button if you liked it, and ring the bell to become a Pavlovian dog. See you next time. Bye!